We have a team of annoyed devotees who are saying too much non-dualism. All right. But this sets the stage for a nice discussion. Let me give you a little background to this question. Vedanta. We are sitting in the Vedanta society. What is it? It's the teachings of the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the fundamental text of Vedanta. Another text of Vedanta is called the Brahma Sutra. And the third text of the Vedanta, fundamental text of Vedanta, is called the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Please sit. So the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, these three together are called the triple canon, not the canon which you can shoot cannonballs out of, C-A-N-O-N, the fundamental texts of Vedanta. Prasthanatraya in Sanskrit, the triple foundation of Vedanta, foundational texts. Now, of these three, the second one, Brahma Sutras, it's a collection of, say, about 555 aphorisms. Depending on which school you follow, it's 555 or a little different. 555 aphorisms, short cryptic sayings, and they are philosophical discussions of the issues which are raised in the Upanishads. So these Brahma Sutras are the foundation, are the philosophical foundation of Vedanta. The real root of Vedanta is Upanishads. But philosophically speaking, Vedanta depends on the Brahma Sutras. And these Brahma Sutras were written by Vyasa. Now, there are many schools of Vedanta depending on the interpretation of the Brahma Sutras. Depending on the interpretation of the Brahma Sutras, you have different schools of Vedanta. Shankaracharya, 1400 years ago, wrote his commentary on the Brahma Sutra called the Brahma Sutra Bhashya or Shariraka Mimamsa Bhashya, and that became the philosophical foundation of the school of Vedanta called Advaita Vedanta, which we are being accused of dwelling on too much. Non-dual Vedanta, which I talk about. Non-dual Vedanta. But it's true, it's not the only school of Vedanta, very far from it. About 1,000 years ago, Ramanujacharya, in what is now the present state of Tamil Nadu, he commented on the same Brahma Sutras and wrote a different commentary called the Sri Bhashya. And his commentary became the foundational, philosophical foundation of the school of Vedanta known as Vishishtadvaita, qualified monism or qualified non-dualism. 200 years after him, Madhvacharya, in what is now the state of Karnataka, Udupi, there's a place now, he wrote his own commentary called the Purna Pragya Bhashya on the same Brahma Sutras, giving rise to the Dvaita Vedanta, the dualistic school of Vedanta. Look at this, non-dualistic school, qualified non-dualism, dualism, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, and there are major differences in these schools. They all talk about Brahman, but in different ways. For example, a central difference is, Shankara says, you are Brahman. Really, if you know yourself, you are Brahman. Ramanuja says in Vishishtadvaita, you are not Brahman, you are a part of Brahman. This whole universe is a unity, not an identity. It's a unity composed of parts. Just as your hands and feet are parts of you, but they are not the whole of you. Similarly, we are all parts of God. But you are not identical with God. And it's like a wave and an ocean. The wave is not the ocean. It's a part of the ocean. And Dvaita Vedanta says, you are not even part of God, let alone being one with God. God is different, Brahman is different, you are an individual, destined to remain an individual, and God is the ruler of this universe, and you are the subjects. It's a very dualistic form of religion. I mean, when you come to it from other world religions, you will find the dualistic Vedanta is easy to understand. That's mostly what you would find other religions are saying. The qualified monism is a step higher, and Advaita Vedanta is another step higher. Now, and there are other schools. There is Vallabhacharya's Shuddhadvaita, Nimbarkacharya's Dvaita. You know, the ISKCON, the Hare Krishna monks, just today somebody asked me, oh yes, today in Central Park, Are you a Hare Krishna? We have to say, no, I am a Ramakrishna. But there are, the fundamentals are all rooted in Vedanta. That won't work, Bill. You have to switch it off. He's sitting on it. You have to switch it off. Yes. So the Hare Krishna monks, the Society for Krishna Consciousness, they belong to a school of Vaishnavism called Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Bengal Vaishnavism, and their core philosophy is also Vedanta, a school known as Achintya Bheda Ved, inconceivable identity indifference. So all these schools, they're all schools of Vedanta, and they have major followings. They have huge and major followings. For example, large numbers of people in the south of India, in Tamil Nadu, the Sri Vaishnavas, they're all followers of Ramanuja, not non-dualistic Vedanta, not Shankara. Large numbers of people in Karnataka, they're followers of Madhva. In fact, until Chaitanya school of Bengal Vaishnavism develops its own Vedanta philosophy, they were all followers of Madhva, the dualistic Vedanta in Karnataka, and so on. And in fact, directly followers of Shankara might be fewer in number than all the others. So here is this question: why are you concentrating only on Shankara, not on others? Well, the answer is this. We, the Ramakrishna order of India, the Vedanta societies, our core philosophy is Shankara's Advaita Vedanta. You can say, says who? Because if you look at Ramakrishna, he speaks about everything. And not just Vedanta, he speaks about Tantra, he speaks about Vaishnavism, Shaktaism and Vaishnavism, he speaks about Sikhism and Christianity and Islam, Buddhism. So he speaks about so many things, not just Vedanta. And why only Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta? Because of this. Our emphasis on non-dual Vedanta comes from Swami Vivekananda. If you look at Swami Vivekananda, the things he taught in this country and in India, the central thrust is non-dual Vedanta. Second, our sannyasa, we are monks. And if you actually, my name is Swami Sarvapriyananda, some of you might know, but do you know that that's not my whole name? I don't use the whole name. The full form is Sarvapriyananda Puri. Puri, that title shows which denomination of monastic orders I belong to. I belong to a denomination called the Puri Sampradaya. And that is part of a 10-fold denomination started by Shankaracharya. 10 orders of monks, among whom Puri is one. There is Bharati and Saraswati and Giri and so on. There are 10 orders, and we are one of those orders, started by Shankaracharya, the non-dualist orders of monks. So that's another thing. Our sannyasa, the process we go through for monasticism, the vows of monasticism, they make sense only in non-dualism. The mantras which we take at the time of sannyasa are completely the mantras used in Shankara's orders. There are monastic orders for the dualistic Vedanta. That's different. There are monastic orders for non-dualistic Vedanta. They are different orders. But we are not part of that. But we are in a liberal sense. We are not strict non-dualistics saying that Vedanta is only non-dualism and the others are wrong. We don't say that. We say that we accept the insights, the beauty, the power that is there in Ramanuja's Vishishtadvaita, in Madhva's Dvaita Vedanta, in Chaitanya's ecstatic love of God. We accept all of that wholeheartedly, and we know there are extremely valuable inputs, there are extremely valuable insights into spiritual life in all these paths. They are beautiful paths. They are very rich. I can only be sorry that I have not had the time to study those other commentaries. I have read a little bit, not that I have not read. I have read some of the commentaries of Ramanujacharya, some of the commentaries of Madhvacharya. And I'll have you know that our order has produced scholars who have translated not only the commentaries of Shankaracharya, famously commentaries of Shankaracharya, but commentary of Vireshwaranandaji. He translated the Sri Bhashya, The commentary of Ramanujacharya into English, it's available. The Gita commentary of Ramanujacharya in the qualified non-dualistic, qualified monistic philosophy, written by Ramanujacharya, the commentary on the Gita, has been translated and published from our order. So our order, we have monks who have seriously studied the Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita and different schools of Vedanta. But primarily Advaita, because our central philosophy is Advaita. In one of our ashrams in Mayavati, in the Himalayas, Swami Vivekananda established it, and he said no ritualistic worship will be there. When Vivekananda himself went there, he found a picture of Ramakrishna and it was being worshipped. And his reaction was, what? The old man has entered this place too. Remove the picture. Remove the picture. Now one of the monks was very hurt by this. So he wrote to Holy Mother, to Ma Sharada, who was in Jairambati at that time, saying that we were worshipping a picture of the master, like you do in other ashrams. And Vivekananda asked us to remove this picture. So was it wrong to worship the master? And he fully expected her support. But you know what she wrote back? She dictated the letter. My child, your guru was Brahman. Literally, your guru was Advaita. Your guru was non-dual. She did not say your guru was a non-dualist. She said your guru was non-dual. That means he is Brahman. And then she says, I can say with great certainty that you are all non-dualists. Tomra shabbai advaitavadi. I mean, nishchit bhabe bolte pari, tomra shabbai advaita. You are all non-dualists. Therefore, what Vivekananda has done is right for that place. Vivekananda set up all this range. You can have dualistic worship, but the background philosophy is always non-dual. When you actually hear the mantras of the worship, that reality which is within, I worship thee in this form externally. It's non-dualistic. Even Durga Puja, if you see the mantras, non-dualistic actually. There's a background of non-dualism behind it. Another point here. I just said Advaita is the highest, next Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita next. Why did I say that? Would a dualist accept it? That dualism is a rung in the ladder, next rung is qualified non-dualism, and the highest is non-dualism. Would a dualist accept it? Never. Never ever in 1,000 years. And literally I mean that they have not accepted it in 1,000 years, literally. So why do I give this ladder analogy, that dualism, qualified monism, then non-dualism? Because Vivekananda has used it. Yes. I'm getting signals that the food is ready, yes.
Bhagavan Ramakrishna also says, Advaita is the final.
Sri Ramakrishna, as he pointed out, has said, Advaita is the final stage. So Vivekananda gives this ladder idea, first this and then this, but Ramakrishna also in some places has been quite indifferent to it. He does not say you have to go through this first or that first. He says, take up any one of them, follow it carefully, and you will get it. Swami Bhuteshananda, when this question was put to him, I remember this, he was very humorous. He said, he himself says, so why are you privileging Advaita above others? And the monk who was questioning him said, well, Swami Vivekananda has said the bottom of the ladder is dualism, then you go from dualism, you climb higher to qualified monism, then to non-dualism. The ladder, 1, 2, 3. And Bhuteshananda's reply was inimitable humor and insight, He just said, the ladder can also be reversed. You can change it. Then non-dualism becomes the bottom. Then you go from the qualified monism and then to dualism. And actually, if you go to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, if you ask them about non-dualism and dualism, they will say non-dualism is at best what they call Mayavada. So non-dualism is at best a very superficial and external understanding of reality. As you go deeper, if you advance in spiritual life, ultimately you will end up with the personality of God. You will end up with Krishna. And what is non-dualism? These non-dualists who keep talking about infinite consciousness, they just sense the light emanating from Krishna's body and then they fall unconscious. If they would only go deeper, they would find Krishna. So from their point of view, so there are many very interesting things. Those who love Krishna, after death they will attain to, the company of Krishna in the presence of God. You will always stay there and sing the praises of Krishna and all that. Those who love Krishna. And those who hate Krishna and are enemies of Krishna, they will attain non-dual realization afterward. So such funny things are said. You can reverse the ladder. And they actually say that your non-duality is just child's play. You come further. So we'll leave that at that point. One final point I wanted to make was a monk wrote a letter to Sri Ramakrishna. The question was Sri Ramakrishna, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, it stresses Vishishtadvaita, qualified monism. The complaint is, you find more bhakti there, less of non-dualism. So why are you stressing non-dualism so much? In fact, I remember a great scholar of qualified monism, Vishishtadvaita, who came to Belur Math to teach us qualified monism, Lakshmi Tatacharya. He had studied Vedanta for 40 years. It's called Ubhaya Vedanta, Tamil Vedanta and Sanskrit Vedanta. For 40 years he studied to master it. So he came to teach us. He speaks only in Sanskrit. And he gave us beautiful classes on qualified monism, Vishishtadvaita, not non-dualism. And he said to us, I'm translating from Sanskrit, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, I love that book. It's so clearly a book of qualified monism, Vishishtadvaita. I read it and I say, I see only qualified monism there. And that was the uniqueness of Ramakrishna. Whoever came to him found his or her own ideal in Ramakrishna. But yes, there is a lot of qualified monism in Ramakrishna, in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. I'll end with this. A monk wrote a letter to Swami Turiyananda. What would you say was the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna? Advaita, non-dualism, Vishishtadvaita, qualified monism, or Dvaita, dualism? What is the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna? You are a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. The answer is worth reading. Several pages towards the end of this book, the treasures for spiritual seekers, the letters of Swami Turiyananda, towards the end, I think almost maybe the last letter or last but one, it's a long letter. Swami Turiyananda writes, describing non-dualism, qualified monism, dualism, Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, and then finally writes, if you push me into a corner and you say, no, tell us straight, what was Sri Ramakrishna's philosophy? Dualism, non-dualism, qualified monism? Which school of Vedanta did he subscribe to? His answer is instructive. His answer is, Sri Ramakrishna's philosophy was, to put it in one phrase, realize God by whatever means possible. By whatsoever means possible. Dualism, non-dualism, qualified monism, whatever means possible, become enlightened. In Bengali, Josho kore Bhagavan labh karo. This is a phrase in Bengali, which means realize God by whatsoever means possible. Very Buddha-like there. All right.